This meeting is being video and audio recorded for future cable broadcast. Please silence all cell phones for the duration of the meeting. And if everyone could please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the first order of business is the reorganization of the school committee, and then subsequently we're going to establish the subcommittees. So first we would need to entertain a motion for chairperson of the school committee. Do I have a motion for chairperson?
I'll make a motion to nominate Jody Tavaz as chair.
Okay, motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, so all in favor? Do we need to take an individual vote for that?
Probably.
Okay,
Well,
so we'll do a roll call vote. Sarah Gomes,
yes.
Dave DeTerra,
Yes.
Craig Sumner,
Yes.
Jody Tavars.
Yes,
Okay, congratulations.
thank you.
And
Okay,
I'm going to turn the meeting back over to the chairperson.
sure. All right, so good evening, everyone. I will do nominations for vice chair. Do we have a nomination for vice chair?
I will nominate Jennifer Downing for vice chair.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. Any discussion? No, I know Jen is going to be very happy, so all in favor, we'll do a roll call. Sarah?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Sumner? Mr. DeTerra?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right, so Jen will be happy. All right, and let's see, so we will move on to our subcommittees. Right now, we have our negotiation subcommittee, and on there, it's Jennifer Downing, Craig Sumner, Dr. Bailey, and Mrs. Flynn. So unless there's anyone else that would like to change, I know that right now we're in negotiations, so it probably makes sense to keep the subcommittee if that's okay. But if anybody really has a difference of opinion, we'll talk it out. Any? So, okay, so motion to accept the negotiations with Mrs. Downing, Mr. Sumner, Dr. Bailey, and Mrs. Flynn.
Make a motion.
Okay?
I'll
there's a
second it.
All right. We'll do a roll call. Ms.
Yes.
Combs? I'm a yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chair was a yes. All right, the same thing for budget. We have a budget subcommittee. Right now, we have Mrs. Gomes, Mrs. Downing, Dr. Bailey, and Mrs. Flynn. So pretty much the same thing. We're in budget season, so I know that they've been meeting a lot over the budget. So unless there's somebody really wants to make a change, we'll talk that out. Anyone? All right, so do I have a motion to accept the budget subcommittee with Mrs. Gomes, Mrs. Downing, Dr. Bailey, and Mrs. Flynn?
Make a motion to accept.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Mrs. Gomes?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 Okay. All right. We have a policy subcommittee. Right now, that includes myself, Mrs. Gomes, and Dr. Bailey. I know that we are in the process of reviewing all of our policies and regulations with MASC, M-A-S-C. It's going to be, it's going to take us a little bit of time, and we're just really getting into it. So I'd like to keep it as is, but if somebody really wants to make a change, we can talk about it.
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to keep the policy subcommittee as Mrs. Tavaz, Mrs. Gomes, and Dr. Bailey?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right. All those in favor, Mrs. Gomes,
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 Okay, moving right along. All right, we're almost done. Old Colony Folk Appointment Committee. Right now, we have Mr. DeTerra, Mr. Sumner, and Mrs. Gomes. So unless there's a discussion for change, we'll make a motion to keep the Old Colony Vocational Appointment Committee as Mr. DeTerra, Mr. Sumner, and Mrs. Gomes.
Make a motion to keep it the same?
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
All right, Mrs. Gomes?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 Okay. All right, and our SMEC representative, right now we have Mrs. Gomes. Is there any discussion for change, or? No? So can I have a motion to keep Mrs. Gomes as the SMEC representative?
Make a motion to accept.
A second.
All right. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Whew, we got through that. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. Okay, so we established our subcommittee, so we have the approval of minutes, payroll, and warrants. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of March 12th, 2019?
Motion?
I'll make a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. And do I have a motion to approve all payroll and warrants?
Make a motion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We're now on to delegation. I know we do have some visitors that are going to be presented later on. We can even discuss if you want to move them up after. That's up to you.
Yeah, I think the first on my report should be fine.
Okay, perfect. But right now, do we have anyone from the delegation that would like to speak to the committee? I do ask if you do, that you would come up to the podium and say a few things if you'd like to.
State your name as well.
Right. No? Okay, all right. At this time, there's no delegation. We don't have any old business. All right, new business. Superintendent's report, Dr. Bailey.
Okay. So the first thing on my report is we have 11 students with us. I'm not sure if they're all with us tonight, and 2 staff meetings that we wanted to recognize from Ford Middle School. So I'd like to call up the assistant principal, Angie Ruggieri, to the podium, please. And I'm going to ask if the chairperson
Sure.
would just be with her to congratulate our students and staff. But Ms. Ruggieri will be letting us know what they're being recognized for, but we're certainly very proud of our students and staff. And these are really above and beyond things for recognition, so we're really quite proud of them.
Yes, good evening. Is this on?
Where's Chris?
Would we know? Would we be able to tell? Okay, great, okay. So yes, it's my honor to present tonight some of our scholars and 2 staff members who have accomplished great achievements through hard work and dedication. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the families and the school committee and staff members and our amazing student body for helping to support these students in their journey. It's paramount that we have the community support to help these kids aspire and staff to aspire as well. So thank you to everybody. First, I would like to call up Kiana Kappa, our 7th grade student. Kiana has been presented with the President of the United States Volunteer Service Award. This award recognizes Americans of all ages who have volunteered significant amounts of their time to serve their communities and country. Thank you, Kiana. Nice job.
Congratulations.
Next, I would like to call Dylan Mydlak, please. Dylan was selected as Acushnet's ambassador to Project 351. Project 351 empowers students from across Massachusetts to unite, act, and lead. It is a 12-month program of inspirational service, empowering leadership, training, and teamwork. Start Dylan.
Ms. Ruggieri, if any of the students want to say a few words, I'd entertain that as well. If anybody wanted to talk about their experience, they're welcome to let us know what your project was about, and we're really proud of you. So maybe you could tell us about your involvement if you'd like.
My involvement so far has really just been service to better the community and trying to accomplish goals and create better people.
Fantastic.
You're a great ambassador for Acushnet Public Schools, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks for having me. It's a great honor to be here.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call McKenna Benoit. McKenna was the first place winner in the Will McDonough Writing Contest. The Will McDonough Writing Contest is named in honor of the legendary Boston Globe sports writer. This year, over 1,100 students participated in the contest. Winners are chosen by Globe sports editors. That'd be great. Okay. Oh, you have it too? Perfect.
A game changer in gymnastics happened in May of 2017. Rachel Hollander accused Larry Nasser of sexual assault. Larry Nasser was the medical coordinator of USA Gymnastics. He assaulted world-renowned gymnasts like Simone Biles and Aly Raisman. Aly Raisman took her platform and used it for something no one could imagine. She was sexually assaulted in what was thought to be a safe place for young girls, an elite gymnast. Aly Raisman was one of the first 160-plus girls to come out against Nasser. For years, Raisman was unaware of what was happening, thinking it was just treatment and would help her gymnastics. Aly Raisman showed up to Nasser's court date and took the stand with courage, and looked Nasser in the eye. She called him out and tore him down. In Raisman's speech, she said, "You do now realize that this group of women who so heartlessly abused over such a long period of time are now forced and you are nothing." Aly Raisman has made a huge impact on gymnastics and the way it works. Raisman has a very young fan base considering her career. She has used this fame to empower, inspire, and support women. Aly Raisman is a two-time Olympic athlete and was the captain of both teams. She has 6 Olympic medals from the 2012 and 2016 Olympics. She has 3 gold, 2 silvers, and 1 bronze medal. She's been through unimaginable training. She was in the gym for 35 hours a week. One of the final 5 gymnasts in the Olympics. She was behind Simone Biles on the floor apparatus, winning silver on the floor and gold as a team. She has been one of the best gymnasts in the world. Aly Raisman is local to Needham, Massachusetts, and was born on May 25th, 1994. She's a feminist and advocates for women's rights. Aly has partnered with companies like Pandora Jewelry, GK Elite Sportswear, and Poland Springs. In 2016, the final 5 and other gymnasts went on a tour called the Tour of Gymnastics Champions. Aly was in the question part of the tour, and I sent a question about the mental block I've had for over 2 years. Aly Raisman answered my question saying, "Just close your eyes and take a deep breath. You've done it before and you can do it again. Just count to 5 and go." This has stuck with me throughout my gymnastics career. I got back that skill that was mentally blocked for a long time. I met Aly later that day and she gave me a high five and told me I could do it. Aly Raisman is the most influential person in sports to me. She has gotten assaulted, been in pain, been on top of the world, and been my role model for over 7 years. Aly Raisman is a gold medalist and Olympian and much more. She is the strongest person I'll ever know. I think Aly Raisman is the most influential person in sports.
Thank you for sharing that. It was really nice.
Alora Correa was not able to be with us this evening, but she, along with the next group of students that I'm going to be calling up, were all published in the Young Writers USA. It's a forum for students to write and enter their writing into a contest to be published. So, Alexandra Cousineau, if you could please come up. And Alexandra has the book that they were published in.
Oh, wow.
My work is called the Malaysia Flight. So, the intercom came on. The student captain speaking in current troubled thought from the Bureau of
Riley DeMello, who was also not able to be with us today, was published in the Young Writers USA. Isabel Hugazian, who is also not here with us today, was published in the Young Writers USA. Aiden Pacheco, who's not able to be with us, was also published in the Young Writers USA. Olivia Poulin, who is here, was published in the Young Writers USA.
My story is called The Noise in the Basement. There was a noise in the basement. I was the only one at home. The lights flickered. That noise. I'd heard it before. The sound echoed around my head, and I shivered because of all the thoughts rattling. I cautiously inched over and pulled the basement door open. There was something down there, but I hoped I was alone. Every step made a creak. As I reached the bottom, I turned on the lights. The noise was louder than ever. Then the lights turned off, and I felt a hand on my shoulder pull me back.
Jayla Young is the recipient of the Patriots Pen essay. She is the first place winner. The Thomas E. Tuttle VFW and Acushnet Patriots Pen contest gives 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students the opportunity to express their opinion on a patriotic theme and improve their writing skills. This year's theme was Why I Honor the American Flag.
Why I honor the American flag. I am proud to be an American and have freedom that the flag represents. It is the way we honor the many soldiers that have given their lives for our freedom. There are countless ways to honor and to show respect for the American flag. It is a symbol of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For as long as America has stood as a free country, there have been brave soldiers who have fought for our rights to be free. Numerous wars have been fought to ensure that all Americans have freedom of speech, press, petition, and religion. The flag is a representation of all the lives that have been lost protecting those rights. It shows how strong we can be together as a group of people. Showing respect for the flag is an American duty. Every morning, students across the nation stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. At every American sporting event, we stand in silence with our hands on our hearts as the national anthem is played. It is also a sign of respect to salute members of our armed forces. Respect for the flag is important when you think of all it stands for. The American flag represents different things to many people. To me, it means that I have the right to elect the leaders of my country. It lets me know that I am safe in my home or anywhere I choose to go. The flag gives my confidence, and no matter how big my dreams are, they are all possible in this great land. I can say, read, write, and believe in anything I choose. The American flag stands for freedom. Freedom to dream, express yourself, and succeed. It is a symbol of safety. Soldiers, past, present, and have made sure that we sleep in our beds without fear. We owe them all respect by saluting, standing, and respecting the flag.
Julia Brides, who is not able to be with us tonight, was the second place essay winner for the Patriots Pen.
I would just like to congratulate all of our students. I'm very proud of them. They all received a certificate and I believe a free meal to Texas Roadhouse. So we want to thank Texas Roadhouse for that. And I know you also want to go into the staff now, right?
Right.
So,
we
Ms.
have
Tavares,
two
we're-
staff members that we're
Two
going to
staff
recognize.
members. Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Is Kyle Gallivan, if you could please come up. Kyle is our 7th grade social studies teacher here at Ford Middle School. He was selected to serve on the History and Social Science Grade 8 Civics Assessment Development Committee with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So the committee members are directly involved in assisting the State Department with the process of developing a performance-based assessment task in the area of civics. So the state received over 75 applications, and we were pleased that Kyle was one of the few to be selected to serve on a 2-year membership on the committee. And finally, Christine Daniels, our art teacher here at Ford Middle School. Christine passed her National Board Certification renewal. It was not a small task by any means. She put a lot of time and work and energy into that. The National Board Certification was designed to develop, retain, and recognize accomplished teachers and to generate ongoing improvement in schools nationwide. 2019 marks Miss Daniels' 20th year as a National Board Certified Teacher. She is one of about 25 teachers in the state with this certification in the arts for middle and high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ruggieri. So lots of good things going on, and we wanted to take a few minutes to recognize our wonderful students and staff. And there'll be more to come of that, because I know there's lots of great things happening in the district. Any comments about that, or we're good to go on? Okay.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. That's great, everyone.
Great job.
Great job.
Okay, the next thing on my report is the appointment of the superintendent of schools to serve on the board of directors for the Reads Collaborative. You have the paperwork in your packet. I have the original, and I'm going to pass it over to the chairperson, but we would need to have a vote taken, and then the chairperson signs off. But these are for the feeder districts that feed into Reads, and I'm currently on the board of directors, but they do it yearly.
Okay. So, let's see. Go to the schools. So I'll have a motion to appoint it says Dr. Paula Bailey is appointed to serve as the Acushnet Public Schools representative on the Board of Directors of Reads Collaborative in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 4E, as amended by Chapter 43 of the Acts of 2012 for the 2019-2020 school year. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
No, none opposed? Okay.
Okay, so I would just need that back
Yep,
once you sign
sure.
it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next thing on the agenda is permission not to maintain a high school, and that requires a vote, as you know. So in your packet, I have a letter to the Department of Education requesting a waiver on behalf of our district in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 71, Sections 1, 4, and 6, to be permitted not to maintain a high school, grades 9 through 12, for the school year 2019-2020, and to tuition our students to New Bedford High School and Fairhaven High School.
Okay. Do I have a motion for permission not to maintain a high school?
Motion?
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Welcome.
The next thing we have is out-of-state field trips. Within your packet, there are 2 out-of-state field trips. One is for grade 4 Mystic Aquarium, and the other one is the annual grade 8 field trip to Canopy Lake Park in New Hampshire. So both of those would require a vote because they're out of state.
Sure. Does anyone have any questions about them before we go to a vote? No? All right. We'll take them one at a time. So motion to approve the out-of-state field trip for grade 4 to the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut.
Make a motion.
I'll
Second?
Second?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No. Anyone opposed? No? All right. Passes unanimous. All right. Let's see. So can I have a motion to approve the grade 8 out-of-state field trip to Canopy Lake Park in New Hampshire?
Make a motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Unanimous. You're welcome.
The next thing on the agenda is Pride Awards and the 8th grade promotion, as well as the last day of school. So for the Pride Awards, we have a school committee that last week on June 11th. So the plan is to have the Pride Awards on that same night. The last day of school is June 14th. And I believe the grade 8 promotion is the night before. So before we publish anything, I just wanted to make the committee aware
Sure.
of the dates, and if there was any discussion prior to us sending that out to parents.
Everyone's okay with those dates? Well, we can't control the last day of school, but June 11th?
Yeah, we can't change the last
No,
day. We've
no.
been very fortunate this year with
June
no
1st.
snow, not a lot of snow. Okay. So you're all set with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you for letting
You're
us know.
welcome.
I'm sorry, Paula, one more. The
Yeah.
Pride Awards, 6 o'clock?
That's a good question because, what was it last year?
I believe it was 6:30, but I could be wrong.
Right. I can let you know for sure. I want to double check with the principal.
Okay.
You know what it was, a half hour before? Did it start earlier and then we went into the school committee meeting, right? So
Was
the
it
idea is
earlier?
to have it again in the cafeteria,
Was it 5 then?
And
Maybe we started the meeting at 6?
and then maybe we started the meeting at 6. But I'll get notices out so
Okay.
that everyone's informed, but it'll be that evening.
Okay.
Okay? Same idea as last year. You have a draft of the school calendar for 2019, 2020. We will not vote on that tonight. The idea is we're vetting this out with all of the administrators, with the school committee. Everybody will have a month to look at it, and we will vote on it next month. So if you see anything, if you have any questions, we have a month. We can discuss it at our workshop. But it's right there for you, but I can't stress it enough that it's written right on there. It's a draft only. And then we will take the May meeting to vote on that.
I think for myself, the only question I have is, do we consider extending the Christmas break through the Friday? But that's something we can talk about. That's my only thing that's on my mind. And then I know that does push it back 2 days, which would mean, June 17th instead
Right.
of the Monday. But
Right.
right now it's scheduled to be out on a Monday, but I just wonder, will we have families that are going away for those 2 weeks, and does it make sense maybe for fuel to come in for 2 days? It's just a discussion. I think we
Absolutely.
can talk
I already
about it.
moved it back, so obviously they have the whole week off of Christmas. But if the committee or, other folks, as we talk about this, wanted to entertain the extra 2 days, then that would push the extra 2 days in June.
To June.
So,
And if, educators say, no, it's best for the students to come in those 2 days, I'm fine. That's just the only question that
right,
I thought
That's a
of.
good point.
yeah,
Whatever, it's fine with me.
yep. Okay.
Okay. So we are on to Mrs. Flynn's portion of the agenda. So business managers report, Mrs. Flynn.
Okay, thanks. So first item on my report is the FY19 budget update. So in your packet, you have a picture of where our major accounts are, as we've been doing all year, where our surpluses are and where our deficits are. Changes from last month to this month, you'll see we are anticipating in our major lines. Now, again, this doesn't take into account any funds that we may have in some of our smaller lines, like some of the utility lines, some of the supply lines, but the ones that we really keep a close eye on, the salaries, the tuition, some of the contract services, and transportation. So we are anticipating a deficit overall in those accounts of about 19,000, and this has been fluctuating throughout the year. What's impacting this is we have had, as you know, 2 out-of-district students that have entered Acushnet since the last time we talked, and we also became aware in the past 2 weeks of a student who will be moving to Acushnet sometime in the fall that is currently in an out-of-district placement. So that's another 3 out-of-district placements that we need to be aware of. The one that I just mentioned doesn't impact this year, of course, but the other 2, one will be starting very soon after April school vacation, and one we anticipate to be starting right after that. So the one that is starting after April vacation is factored in. The one that we don't have a start date yet is not factored in. So unless something else changes, there'll be a greater deficit the next time we report on this. Now, some of the things that we have available to mitigate this, you'll see I added in under possible sources of funds. The first line is circuit breaker extraordinary relief. districts are allowed to file a claim for extraordinary relief on circuit breaker. We get circuit breaker reimbursement every year, but when from one year to the next, your claims are higher than 125%, you can file for what's called extraordinary relief with the Department of Ed. And our special education department filed that claim on March 22nd in the amount, and it's a formula, it's a worksheet. They filed it in the amount of $32,639 because that's what they felt that we were eligible for based on the formula. So we haven't heard for sure yet from the Department of Ed, but that is a source of possible funding to help out with this deficit. And as we talked at the last meeting, we do have some fund balances and revolving funds. We have a little bit left when we collected fees for a full-day kindergarten. We do have a balance in our preschool revolving fund from the tuition and fees that we collect that we could use to help. We have some school building rental revolving fund money that we could use to offset some building expenses if we have them. And then we also have our special education stabilization fund that was voted in at town meeting at the end of the year. That'll be the last resort. Right now, some of these items, you know, they can, as you know, they can and do change. We're up students at our high schools. As you know, we had students change their mind, move into Fairhaven and New Bedford High. We had move-ins for out of district. We also have to procure an additional van for one of our special ed placements that changed. The student was formerly on a van with other students. The placement changed to a place that no one of our other students or any of our Fairhaven friends go to, so that is impacting our budget this year as well. So all that together is looking like in those major lines we have a deficit about $20,000. But you know, that's not good news, but we do have a plan that we can possibly cover that. So it's not horrible news. It's not the best, but it's, you know, we'll come into June 30th okay. So you also have the detail of FY19 after that, just what the individual lines look like, so you can take a look at that. And that is it for FY19, unless anybody has any specific questions about FY19.
Does anyone have any questions, Mrs. Flynn?
Not at this time.
No. Right. Thank you for the update.
You're welcome. So moving on to the FY20 budget, we have been working on this with our department heads and our principals, and also with the finance committee and the town administrator and the board of selectmen. We have worked very closely with the finance committee and the board of selectmen to come in with a budget that will, you know, hopefully meet our needs. It's not going to meet all of our needs, but we also have to be cognizant of what the town can also bear. We have been advised that our most town departments, I believe, were asked to come in at a 2.5% increase. After we presented to the finance committee and the board of selectmen and had discussions, they were able to increase that by $100,000. So that figure is $14,662,271. That is less than what we had voted on for our public hearing. So we will need to tonight we can entertain a vote to get to that amount of $14,662,271. Now, on the sheet that you have, you can see how we're going to get there, or what has changed from the public hearing. You can see we had to add collaborative tuition for 2 move-ins back in mid-March. We subtracted a private tuition for a move-out also in mid-March. There's that additional van transportation that I just talked about for next year that's also impacting us this year. When we got our second of 2 invoices for Fairhaven High School, we were up 3 additional students that had either moved into Acushnet attending Fairhaven High or had changed from one of the schools that we don't tuition to. So those students are all going to be students at Fairhaven High next year, so we need to budget for them. We had some services change for a high school special ed tuition. And then we had down the last 2 lines, you can see the move-in, the notification of a move-in that's pending for October 2019. The prorated collaborative tuition is approximately $52,000, and the prorated transportation is approximately $41,000. So all told, The changes since the public hearing, we have added a net of 193,332 in additional required funds for those items that I just mentioned. So if we want to vote the budget to what the town is offering to help us with, and again, that was an additional 100,000, so that was really helpful. That'll be a 3.2% increase, but that'll result in, as you see, we will need to cut about 247,000 from the budget. So again, not the best news, but unfortunately, it's the reality that we have right now. I don't know if Dr. Bailey wants to add anything to that.
Unfortunately, we can't control the tuitions, the move-ins, and we do our best to predict, but it's our reality right now that we're living with. So we're basically working with the subcommittee, as you know, with the principals, with the department heads, so that we want to make sure our number one priority is that our students' needs are met. But we're looking at everything. But, the reality is we're looking at cutting, reductions in staff.
All right, so I know this has been a not great topic, but we did have a really positive meeting, I felt, the last time we met with both boards. And I really feel like, Mrs. Flynn, you did a great job of doing the presentation and really explained to them our needs and looking over, Dr. Bailey has talked to us about, the finding of her entry report. We've gone over some MCAS data. And basically, we're trusting that administration, we've been discussing this, and we've been working with the administration to really talk about making sure that the plan that we have in place doesn't, affect the kids and what they need. That's not easy to do, but we've been discussing that. So I don't know if anybody else has anything to say.
Well, in light of this information, I'm still hoping that we improve the academics in our school district, which with conversations that we've had, seems like that's going to be we're going to be able to do something like that. So that is important as a parent.
I will say that the original, request of 2.5 would have been, it would have negatively impacted our district. It would have been devastating to our students. So I think everyone has done a really nice job of convincing and working with the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen and the Town Administrator to, I find them to be very supportive of our schools. And we're at a 3.2, and I know that vote will go up tonight. Unfortunately, we have all these set costs that we have to live with. But, we will work together to figure out what is in the best interest of our students as we move forward. It's not ideal. This 3.5 originally was level service, plus the 2 new positions. But now the reality is, the town cannot bear. But I will say, they came back at 3.2. They are supporting us with all the capital improvement money that, I don't know if you're going to get to that tonight. But, so there's other ways of getting some of the money that we need for needed things in the district.
Correct. I have to say, I am very impressed with their collaboration, and I'm very thankful to them for listening and not having us come back at the 2.5, because that, I agree, would have been devastating. So they did hear our needs. They've worked really hard, and I know there's parents on the committee. I know there's people who care about the district and about the kids. So I am very thankful for that, and I'm very thankful about the capital improvement plans and what they're willing to fund for us. I think that takes the burden off of us for having to try to find that money within our own budget. So that is more money they're giving us. It's just in a different way. So on that avenue, I also feel that, I've had some good conversations with Dr. Bailey, and I think we've all been discussing this with her, that, I trust her, and I trust that she has a good plan in place, that she is going to look at the students' needs. She is going to look at the fact that 50% of our kids are not meeting, grade level standards, and that's something we need to work on. And I feel that even with the cuts, we're going to be okay and we're going to be able to make improvements.
Move forward.
Yeah, I do think we'll be able to move forward. So I want to work together with the town. Personally, I think they've been fair. They've worked with us, and I think we have a good plan going forward. And I personally am, I'm not ecstatic. I'm not happy that who is, but I support and I think Mrs. Flynn, you've done a great job in really going over all the numbers, really showing us everything and where all the money is going. So we've been out there and really done a good job at that. So, anybody else
I just
have a
want to stress
discussion?
that none of these decisions will be done in isolation.
Correct.
There's a lot of collaboration going on behind the scenes. There's been no decisions made, and again, we're going to keep our students at the forefront of our decisions
Right.
moving forward.
Right. I do. I love the idea of that, and I thank you for taking the time to meet with our building administrators and getting everyone's input on what would this look like, what do we need for the district, and we've done a budget from the ground up this year, and I think it's been great to know where everything is going and what we need. So anybody else want to say anything, or? No? All right. So then I'll put it out there, and can I have a motion to vote to approve the 3.2% budget of $14,662,271?
I'll make the motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Right. Anyone opposed? No? It's unanimous. Thank you again for the hard work on that. I know it's not easy.
So, thank you. I know that Dr. Bailey mentioned some of the warrant article requests. I'll just quickly go over those, because I think it's important to recognize that, as you said, Mrs. Tavares, the support that we've received in other ways. In the past, we've been lucky to have newly renovated buildings, but the buildings are getting older, and as they are getting older, they're requiring upgrades. Some of these upgrades and things we were able to do within the confines of our budget, but that's not the way it is anymore. So last year we had a couple of warrant articles that helped us improve our security cameras and our clock and bell system, our roadways, among other things. So we had submitted a list to the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen, and we met with them last week. And I'm happy to tell you that they approved most, if not all, of our articles, most of them. And so just real quickly, they approved the curriculum article for $50,000. That's what we had requested. And that'll help us get our new math program for next year. And we hope that this is going to be something that every year we are able to do and work on and pick away at updating our curriculum. They also funded upgrading our burglar and fire alarms at the full amount that we requested. So together, that's $75,000. They're funding the server room air conditioning at the elementary school. This houses our important computer equipment and that of the town as well. They are also funding technology equipment refresh in the amount that we requested, $25,000. So that's replacing some projectors, whiteboards, front row systems. They're going to help us with about $20,000 worth of roadway work. We have a lot of roadway repair, so we're happy to take what they're able to give us to start chipping away at repairing the roads around the school campus. We're also funding some replacement of the roof condensers. This year we requested to replace the 3 at the elementary school at a cost of $30,000, and that was also approved. And we requested to continue to have some funds in the amount of $15,000 to do preventative maintenance on our roofs. One project that we decided, that we discussed with the town administrator and the finance committee, was we do need to replace a gymnasium door per the building inspector, but our town maintenance guys are gonna help us with that. So instead of going out for that, we're going to try to accomplish that in-house. So those, and we also we're adding $50,000 to the special ed stabilization. So altogether, we are receiving or at town meeting, it's requested and it's recommended by the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee, approximately $271,000 in additional capital funds. So that is going to be very helpful to us as well. So that doesn't need a vote. I just wanted to review that with you all and let any of the public know about that. So the next item on my report is the school lunch update. That's in the left pocket of your folder. I was finalizing that this afternoon, so it didn't make it into the printing of the whole packet. So you just have our usual number of lunches sold for February and March. There's really not much more to say other than what we said all year round about school lunch. They're doing very well. They're increasing their average daily lunches sold, and they're holding their own. At the end of February, they had a net income of $6,400 before the federal and state reimbursement. So once that comes through in February, they'll close the month with a $23,000 net income figure. March, we closed with a $4,500 deficit, and this we don't get too concerned with month to month because it's just sometimes the way, however many payrolls we have, if we have 3 payrolls in a month rather than 2, if for whatever reason more bills come in March than came in February, the timing of the revenues and expenditures. So we don't get too concerned from month to month over high revenues or high deficits. So in March, we're closed with a $4,500 deficit, but once we add our federal and state reimbursement, we'll close the month with an $18,000 profit. So year to date, in terms of our monthly deficits and surpluses, right now we're projecting a net income of $17,178, and that is really good for the school lunch program. And again, the Department of Ed, they don't necessarily want you to rack up huge profits because they want you to reinvest back into your program, but they do want you to have a certain amount of expenditures, months worth of expenditures on hand like you would in your own budget. So we just had an audit, our 3-year audit with the Department of Ed, and I don't have the written report yet, but basically with our net income, they said we're doing well. In fact, we needed to they recommended was that we needed to invest back into the program, and it came at a good time because we do need to upgrade all of our point of sale terminals, so that will help us with that. Aside from a few other little items that were not all that consequential, we did well on the audit, and we can certainly report on that in the future. So, the school lunch program is doing well. Final item I have for you is just an update on the MSBA roof project. As you know, back in February, we submitted the initial statement of interest to the Mass School Building Authority to redo a portion of the elementary school roof. The oldest section, the section that's original to the building, is applicable for MSBA reimbursement. Now, they don't make any guarantees. We put in the first step, which was filing the statement of interest. So the next step, I was just notified, you'll see this email in your packet, that they are conducting a site visit on Monday, May 6th at 11 a.m. to look at our project. They want to take a look at the roof. They want to meet with staff that can talk about anything, any failing building systems, programmatic challenges that the roof has addressed, what we've done to maintain the roof, any programs and systems that we've participated in, previous repairs, and they also want to hear from people like me and Dr. Bailey and the town administrator on how we're going to be able to fund our portion of the project. Now, the MSBA, if we're considered, if they approve our project, they will fund a significant portion of the roof. So it's very important that we at least get in the pipeline for this. We may not get approved this year, but at least we've done the steps necessary for the first. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that that's where we're at with this right now.
Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Flynn about anything she brought up?
No.
No.
Okay. All right, school committee member reports. Does anyone have anything they need to share or want to share?
I don't have anything at this time.
No?
Well,
Okay.
actually, I do.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So the PTO had their cookie and soup fundraiser, and I don't have all the final numbers yet, but it looks like we've profited about $14,000, which will be donated to the Little Toy Project. So it's not, I don't have the exact figures yet, but we're looking at around 14,000. So I want to thank everybody who participated in helping sell cookies or distribute anything. It was very helpful, so thank you.
Excellent, and thank you. All right, communication and information, I don't see anything. And do we need executive session, Dr. Bailey? No, we don't.
Mention this.
Okay, oh, sure.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. All right. So we have the Festival of the Arts for Ford Middle School happening on Thursday, May 2nd. Good to know. Okay. 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Let's see. Join us at our annual celebration of art and music in our school, including exhibits of artworks by Ford Middle School students in grades 5 through 8. The chorus will also kick off this year's festival with their spring concert at 6:30. Okay. Excellent. And it's free admission. Nice. Okay. Anything else?
There is something else in your packet regarding the spring vacation week. One of our teachers, Mr. Cote, at the middle school, is the NASA Solar System Ambassador, and he will be at the Whaling Museum with the young scientists that we have for that particular project, Thursday, April 18th, from 1 to 3. So there's information in your packet about that as well.
Excellent. Thank you. All right.
It's always nice to see our folks out in the community.
It is, and they
You
did a
know.
great presentation for us, which was so much fun. So
Yeah.
feel free to bring any more presentations or great things that are happening. That's always the highlight of the meetings. All
Absolutely.
this other stuff. All right. All right. So do I have a motion to adjourn the school committee meeting?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All right. Do a roll call. Mrs. Gomes?
Aye.
Mr. Sumner?
Yes.
Mr. DeTerra?
Aye.
And I am a yes. All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.